Brightest blessings, everyone. Psychic medium Elizabeth Grove, the Paranormal Priestess. Welcome to the Paranormal Priestess YouTube channel, and thank you for joining me. And if you are new, welcome. My name is Elizabeth. I am a quantum communicator, healer, and clearer, helping people with their spiritual awakening journeys. This is a special request, and it's definitely worth talking about because it's one that seems to trigger a lot of people. And the topic is masculine behaviors. Masculine behaviors. Now, I have a lot of feminine clients. I'm mostly a feminine base, but I do have masculines as well. And this one is something that we need to understand a little bit more clearer so that way we can work with it and not get caught up in the illusion. First of all, it's worth mentioning about union because sometimes people get confused with the terminology of union. We have spiritual union and then we have physical union. A lot of people, they keep on referring to union as the physical romantic relationship of the divine feminine, divine masculine. But actually, we really need to focus on the spiritual aspects of the journey because that's really the main takeaway of the ascension journey. It's the reason for this journey. Union is when we are unified with the divine feminine, divine masculine in the universal sense. We're unified with our own feminine and masculine polarity and unified with all that is. It is being conscious of the fact that we are an extension of source. And once we're able to really operate from that, then we can ground that into the physical reality. Then when we have a counterpart, a beloved counterpart, we can bring that energy between. When we get caught up in the illusion that the 3D is real, right, that we are separated from God, goddess, separated from all that is, then we start allowing the ego to run the show. We lose track of what is really true versus what is illusion. With that being said, the feminine is normally the first one to wake up to this journey, do more of this journey in a proactive way, do her shadow work, really address what needs to be addressed. And the masculine, when the masculine comes in, the masculine is usually the one that will activate the Kundalini energy, awaken the divine feminine to go on this journey and really have the shadow come up and face all of those things that have been blocking her wholeness. The masculine's presence will trigger where the feminine is at. So it's always best to realize this on the journey is that the twin flame is an exact direct mirror. They're not like a soulmate. They are the same exact soul, same exact base frequency in another physical form. So that mirror is always going to tell truth. So one of the best ways of really progressing on this journey is recognizing that when there's that uncomfortability comes up, when there are these massive triggers, that they are not trying to do this personally to you. It's not a personal attack. They are there to help to facilitate your spiritual awakening, your spiritual processes, and they're always going to show you where you are. So feminine, if you are very frustrated and infuriated with your masculine's behaviors, them not choosing you, them going perhaps with other women, having various addictions like drug addiction or having alcohol addiction or gaming addiction or buying things or just really addicted to their computers, denying the connection, hot and cold behavior. One moment they're on, one moment they're off. All these mixed signals, breadcrumbing, all these things. If you're getting frustrated with this, the best thing to do is to allow yourself to be pulled back. Give yourself that space to be pulled back and really take a look at your end of it. What are they reflecting to you? For example, your masculine keeps pulling away and they're choosing other women, or they're choosing to just completely deny the connection, they're very closed off, so on and so forth. Where have you been with choosing your own self? Where have you been with really prioritizing, your own emotional needs? Have you been ignoring yourself? Right? Have you been thinking to yourself, I'm not good enough? Have you been thinking to yourself, I'm not capable enough? I need to be supported by somebody else. I need to overly rely on someone else. Where are you with that? Because they are always going to reflect back to you your own traumas. So that's that reflective mirror, and that energy gets shared. The masculine is going to go through a lot of different behaviors, because those behaviors, they are a direct result of their own trauma. So if they do not feel worthy enough, they're holding on to stories, untrue stories, narratives about worth and value. If they have not had that nurturing kind of energy when they grew up, if they've experienced loss, if they experience hurt, heartache, they go into these behaviors, they go into these shields, they go into these false masks, these false types of identities, because those are their coping mechanisms. They put on these shows out there of look at me, or narcissistic behaviors, or I need to try to control everything, right? They go through these different behaviors because it's not really them. It's all an illusion. Those are all byproducts of trauma and everything that they have buried, everything that they're not addressing. And so when the masculine and the feminine are in that same space, when they are triggering each other, what they're doing is they're triggering all of that stuff, and they're allowing it to come up to the surface. Well, I should say it's going to come up to the surface. And it's then at that point that it's their decision of what they're going to do with it. Are they going to resist it? Are they going to allow that stuff to be felt? So it gets to be very frustrating when, especially the feminine, starts believing that the masculine's behaviors and their patterns are the reality, and that's who they are, and that's what the situation is, and that's the end of it. Because they are triggering their own rejection, abandonment wounds, betrayal wounds, self-worth, self-value, and all of those things. So it's always going to be a mirror. So how can you be more accountable for your own stuff? Can you look at this triggering situation and say, okay, what is this saying about me? And this is very overwhelming right now for both parties. So how can I pull my energy back and pull my focus back onto myself, so that way I can do this needed work on myself to become whole, to become peaceful, to feel powerful, to come back to the truth of union, not to try to get a relationship out of the masculine, not to try to, trick anything or trick anyone and try to come up with devise some kind of plan to get your masculine. It's not about that at all. This is about, let's come back to the truth of union. Let's come back to the truth of wholeness. What can you do if the situation is very triggering and infuriating? What can you do to really use that as fuel, really use that to come into more of your alignment? That's what the masculine counterpart is there with their behaviors and patterns. That's what they're doing. So when the anger comes up, when the sadness comes up, when you're feeling hopeless, when you're feeling helpless in these situations, it's going to come back to, where have you been out of alignment with your own wholeness, your own unity? And as the feminine is able to come back to the truth of that and shift that, that will help the masculine counterpart. It does, because they will have their end come up. But this is just so the truth can be clarified for you, and you can take that truth and do something that is going to really help you to come more into that peace and that grounded nature. Of course, we get triggered, we get angry, we have all these emotions, we have all of these stories and these false beliefs going on in our heads. We're ungrounded, right? It's completely reactive. And just the fear takes over. But what can you do to just take a breath and just stop for a moment and really feel into and explore what the messages really are from your mirror? That's how to work best with the dance of the twin flames. Because there isn't any special formula, there isn't any special trickery, there isn't any special anything. This is your spiritual awakening, ascension journey back to wholeness. And your counterpart, again, cannot be understated, is the direct reflection of that. But also keep in mind, everything in your physical reality is a direct reflection of where you are with your own wholeness. So I hope that this makes sense to you, and I know how difficult and it can be. I know how intense this journey is. And if you are looking for some extra support, some help, if you're not quite sure how to do the inner work or you don't know what that inner work is, I am here for all of that. theparanormalpriestess.com. We can do readings where we can connect with your spiritual team directly and gather that information about your journey to help bring you clarity. Hopefully that will bring you more peace too. I also offer very unique light language healing sessions. It's light language, but it's mixed with a very shamanic type of style. And it's there to dramatically transmute wounds, transmute lower density, and help to activate you into your higher light. So that's very helpful. And I do offer twin flame sessions where we can have your twin flame's higher self also participate in that. So those might be things for you to think about if you're looking for that extra support, someone to help you to do that work so you can come into your unity, into your wholeness. Thank you so much for watching. And remember, from the heart of the darkness is born the light. Brightest blessings, and I will talk to you all soon. Take care. Bye-bye.